right, so my name's Anthony Bainey. I'm running for Assembly in District 140 as the Green Party. And today we're going to talk about cannabis in New York State, and specifically in Buffalo and Western New York. And who am I speaking with today?
Courtney, Friedline, citizen and small business owner.
Awesome. And so I know at the state level, there's the Marijuana Regulation Taxation Act, and that's Senate Bill 1527. And there was no vote in committee, in the Finance Committee, and that's where it's been stuck for the last 5 years or not longer in the state Senate. The last couple of years, it has been amended sometimes in committee and resent to the committee. This session, there's at least 20 co-sponsors, so that's almost a quarter of the state Senate. That's very positive. I see a lot of positive forward ambition or movement, in the next year. I think I'd see a very similar version to what's proposed this year passing next year. My only concern personally is that it would not include home grow, or if there's a very strict limit on the home grow. I think 6 plants is a way small number. I think that we could have a larger number reasonably, especially for home grow. So is there any thoughts that you'd like to add right now?
I have a question about home grow, actually. So as a person lacking in a green thumb, I look forward to having someone else grow for me. So how does that work? Like, I mean, if someone has, like, if we have a 6 plant limit, I can't grow my 6. Can I have somebody else grow my 6? And then they got 12 plants. Is that going to be an issue? Do you know the answer to that?
The language that I see, it has to be 6 plants in a locked, sealed spot. So whatever residence that's in, I would assume that that's the 6 maximum for that residence. Now, if there's an apartment where you have a downstairs and upstairs, those are separate residences. So I would say that, that as long as they're in separate, locked away, sealed areas, because that's the latest language that I had seen in 1527 bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, because if you look at, so it's in, because what they basically do is they take out the whole Article 221 of the penal law, and they put in a new Article 222. In that, they put in a Section 15 for personal cultivation. And I would have to see if they do change Section 3382 of the public health law, because that's actually what provides for a misdemeanor for cultivation. And we actually have someone else coming into the Zoom conference named Andrea, so I'll admit them real quick if you don't mind. Okay. Hello, Andrea, can you hear us?
I can, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I'm Anthony Bainey speaking, running for Assembly in District 140 as a Green. And I'm also here with Courtney, if she'd like to introduce herself as well again.
So Drea is actually my business partner. That's my business, Canna Haven.
Awesome. Yeah, so still reading where it says to cultivate. It's very specific in saying, that you cannot possess more than 6 mature cannabis plants. So I know that there's a difference between mature and flowering. So I don't know if maybe the next session, maybe they'll change it to 6 plants mature, 6 plants flowering. It'll be very interesting to see how those type of specific details get worked out in the legislative session.
Yep.
Any other questions at all, or?
No, I'm just here to hear what you want to say.
Yeah, I just think that 99 plant home grow is more of an option that I would advocate for, and in the Western New York Normal, at least for the group chat or the group page that we have, which I started off as the Buffalo Cannabis Movement, and we're trying to get that page changed over to the Buffalo Cannabis Movement. But most people within that group, on that group page, say that they would want 99 plant home grow, and there's also a lot of people that say unlimited. So I don't know how that would work out in a city type environment. You would obviously have people not wanting their neighbors to have a certain amount because of different reasons. So, I think that 99 plants would be something that, someone could accommodate within their residence in a very small backyard. Or
So you just mentioned say it again, Buffalo Cannabis Movement.
yeah, that's how we had started off originally before there was any incorporation of Western New York Normal. And the Buffalo Cannabis Movement, we advocated for decriminalization, and also we advocated for trying to get some hemp legislation in the city of Buffalo in terms of changing the ordinances to allow for the cultivation of hemp. And then we also called for, like home grow within the city limits. But we mainly focused on trying to get the Buffalo police to stop arresting people, because that's where most of the arrests in Erie County were, in the city of Buffalo, and for majority Black and brown people. And also it was mostly younger people too. So the whole narrative of the arrests for cannabis from either the media or from elected officials is that these are older type of drug dealers, and that's not necessarily the case. I mean, a lot of times it's a younger kid that's just got a small amount in their pocket, and then you end up hitting them with a misdemeanor, and that can hinder their opportunities. And so that's where we really tried to make a big difference.
I've seen the videos of them harassing kids for really nothing more than that, and not even kids, but just younger people. But so what's going on with that? Because I'll be honest, like that's where most of my interest has been. And yeah, I'm totally down to be more, involved and vocal in that aspect of things if there's things actually going on. Or like what, I mean, I don't know, like what exactly were you doing, and what do you want to do, and how do you want to move forward, and how, I guess, can we support you in that is my question.
Yeah, so we had gotten a lot of information from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services to basically give the amount of arrests on people for possession, because whenever someone's issued a state charge under the Penal Law 221, it gets sent to the Division of Criminal Justice Services to be recorded. The problem is if they're given a ticket or a summons or a citation, I don't believe that's sent to the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services because it's a violation. And so the city would process that much in the same ways that if you get like a speeding ticket and then they move it to a non-moving violation, that doesn't go to the state.
I think I saw somewhere that Western New York Free People, and maybe in conjunction with the Fair Fines Coalition people, are working on getting that reported, that the demographic information for the citations reported. I swear I saw that yesterday.
That would be amazing. I would think, I don't know 100% if they would have to go to each district station to get that from each precinct. I don't know. I know that when I tried to get it from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, they were only able to provide the statistics for the 22110, which is the misdemeanor, and everything above that, if it was a felony or if it was another misdemeanor. And In the last 3 years, I've actually reached out to the Division of Criminal Justice Services, and I haven't been able to get any information from them at all. So there was 2 years I was able to get the information, and it was very helpful because it showed the disparities amongst demographics of race. It showed the disparities of going after lower possession because they were going for the 22110 as opposed to the charges that would have a higher volume or a higher weight. So it was very helpful information. The last time I tried to contact them, and this happened the last like 4 times, they diverted me to some private number. It was very weird. So,
Okay.
but the
Okay.
Partnership for Public Good, they were able to give me information, I believe 2018, and it did show a very dramatic decrease of arrests of people for the 22110. So that's very important because that's the misdemeanor that they were getting everybody with in the city of Buffalo, especially people of color. So when I saw the dramatic decrease, I haven't necessarily pursued as much because I haven't been hearing too many complaints from the community. But then the last year, I mean, they've been going after members of the community for other type of,
Right.
petty offenses, which is disturbing. It's just you would have to do a very large combing through of statistics for those petty offenses to try to find a trend. If you look at it from a criminal justice perspective. Whereas with the cannabis, it was blatant. I mean, it's a nonviolent offense.
Right.
And it's something that the majority of people really don't think people should be arrested for.
Mm-hmm. I find it surprising how many people are still, even some people that I know that either medicate or smoke or whatever they do, right? But they're still sharing posts and articles sort of questioning like whether or not it's okay, and I don't know, furthering the stigma rather than helping us to eliminate this stigma. And I don't know, how do you go about combating that, I guess?
I generally don't pay too much attention to what people post on social media in terms of trying to like build an organization in terms of pushing for legislative reform. I mean, I do notice what people share on social media. Like I do make observations, but I really try my hardest to get people to contact their state elected officials, because even if they do think that there is an issue with cannabis culture or anything along those lines, I think almost everybody agrees that cannabis should be treated like alcohol. It's a vice. There's positives and negatives to anything that people do in their lives, and that the benefits tend to outweigh the risks. And we still technically arrest people for possession, which is not okay. So I just try to tell people, contact your elected official and demand that we have reform at the state level that treats cannabis like alcohol, when cannabis is less dangerous than alcohol, in fact. But that's what I try to work within in terms of my scope of argument and trying to build people to try to contact their elected officials. I know for the state senate, that's really the most important. The state senators are the most important members to be contacting, because that's where most legislation in the state kind of falls short of getting any type of movement on. I know for my district, the Senate District 60, which was Chris Jacobs, he just got elected to Congress. So I haven't seen who is running for that seat and what their stance is. I would really like to see a local group like Western New York Normal or the Buffalo Cannabis Movement put together a candidate questionnaire. I know I've had several questionnaires sent to me because I run for assembly from like the Voters for Animal Rights. There's a group that sent out a questionnaire asking me to co-sponsor or introduce specific legislation. And I could think of 5 or 6 different bills that they asked me to have an answer to, and I emailed that questionnaire back. The NRA sent me a questionnaire. New York Families, they sent a questionnaire. Although the New York Families didn't really have any specific bills, they were kind of just like a phrase about like, do you support recreational marijuana or something like that. They didn't attach a bill number.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that you think that Normal should be doing, or just, we as the marijuana advocate community?
Yeah, I think that would be great. I mean, I did one in 2016, and I did get a few responses from some of the candidates running for assembly. None for running for state senate, but some of them running for state assembly, and one of them actually won their elections. So that's pretty important. And that member did say that they would co-sponsor the Marijuana Regulation Taxation Act. So I think it's a good idea to try to get a feel for how different candidates throughout the state feel.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I'm gonna have to sign off here. They're sending me work to do.
Sounds good. And I really do appreciate your time, and I think this important discussion should be talked about more. I mean, because it is an issue that has majoritarian support.
Yes, agreed. I appreciate it.
Thank
Keep
you.
up
Have
the
a great
fight.
day.
Thank you, you too.